Hey y'all, I'm Carolina Tony. This morning the road brings us to Charleston, South Carolina. This particular tour was with Palmetto Carriage Works. I have never been on one of these tours. We have been on many carriage tours here in Charleston over the last 49 years. Actually, this weekend is me and Miss Debbie's 49th wedding anniversary. How cool is that? Anyway, we are going to take you with us and just see some of downtown Charleston. We'll get started right after the station identification.
Quite as old as this congregation. That is St. Philip's number 3. The first, lost to a hurricane. The second, a fire. This current church does known as the Powder Magazine. They do open this up as a museum that you can walk through and tour. It's a little interactive, you can put each other in. We only have a very small amount of these original pieces still here today. And guys, in my opinion, this is one of the prettiest overlooked gates of our city. All done by hand over 200 years ago. Now, it was German Lutherans who founded this early church here, which actually makes the oldest graves in their graveyard to be written in German. Oh.
This ironwork is all original to the early 1800s, and it is all hand wrought. This is St. John's Lutheran Church. We saw it on the carriage tour. It's all closed up today.
They started construction on this church in 1772, but they were slow to build. It was not yet fully completed by the time the war broke out. And when the British occupied the city, they discovered it is just an empty shell of a building. They would take advantage of it and use it as a stable house for their horses while they were in town.
This is the Unitarian Church. I'm gonna walk through the graveyard and look at some of these old, creepy looking headstones. This place would really be creepy at night, wouldn't it?
And now I'm going to pull up here along with this would not be the original structure. The first was lost, and it took them 40 years to get enough money to rebuild it. When they finally rebuilt, they ran out of funding at the base of the church steeple. That church remained steepleless for 104 years. They did not add that current steeple until 2010. Best ways to build in a hot, humid city before the invention of modern air conditioning. Now, why we're still sitting here is because Howard is bringing a radiator leak. Oh, he is very well hydrated. Coffee gallons. And when this happens, I am required to press a GPS location device. Oh, this is going to drop a pin to let our equine sanitary. Built in 1802, this was not the building you wanted to find yourself in the 1800s. It never had running water. No electricity, completely open to the elements, no glass in the windows, just bars, meaning that it'd be blazing hot in the summer, potentially freezing in the winter. Not only was this architecture new for the time, but this is the first house in town to get indoor plumbing. So for the original homeowners, it was not enough to keep up with the Joneses. They wanted to be the Joneses. Yeah, we got this weird, silly door on the outside. You knock on that door and no one inside that house is going to hear you. Those doors are about as silly as they look. Like I said, not everything is restored as others. Don't let something like this fool you. We call these multi-million-dollar fixer-uppers. I've seen a house in that condition sell for $800,000 around here. Imagine how much you have to put into it to restore it to a nice, good, livable condition.
But you can't tear it down.
It's one of the few colleges in the country you can both live in and attend class within a historical building. Its campus does stretch right through the middle of downtown, next 5 or 6 blocks out to our left. A tree is a grass. That lines right up with our educational system here. To our right, guys, is an old movie theater, once known as the Ribby Era Theater.
Point a little bit of history here. Charleston is known as the Holy City, and there's a lot of history behind, because when Charleston first started, the King of England said that you're free to worship who you want to worship, and they wanted to worship everybody. Apparently here in Charleston, not just downtown but all over what's considered Charleston, they say there are over 400 different places to worship here. This is the John Rutledge House. Was built before the American Revolutionary War. Was the residence of John Rutledge from 1739 to 1800. He was the first governor of the state of South Carolina. He was president of South Carolina from 1776 to 78, and governor from 1779 through 82. He was also a signer of the U.S. Constitution in 1787. If you walk around downtown Charleston also, you notice the little narrow houses. Land when these houses were built is kind of like it is today. Very expensive and very well sought after. The houses would have been sometimes only one room wide, but they would be deep, and the entrance to the house would be on the side of the house, as you can see this door right here. They called those little side porches, in fancy Charleston talk, they're called piazzas. We are at the corner of Broad and Meeting Street in Charleston. This is known as the Four Corners of Law. The Four Corners of Law. St. Michael's Church, ecclesiastical law, which represents God's law. The Charleston County Courthouse represents the state law. The municipal law, the Charleston City Hall, and the United States Post Office, federal law. It's kind of hard to see here, but this is the First Presbyterian Church. One thing that's unique about it is it has two domes, one over there and one over there. 427 years they call this the Silent Church. The bells were removed during the war between the states to give the medal to the Confederacy to build cannons.
Beautiful day for walking. Oh my gosh, it is.
This is the Joseph Yates house. Look at these flowers. And those are real in the window box. And check out this gate. It was here on Meeting Street. This is one of the houses or homes that we used during the filming of the miniseries North and South. If my memory serves me right, the makers of the movie or TV show said that this was the home of George Hazard in Pennsylvania. But hey, It's right here in Charleston, South Carolina. There is the Meeting Street Inn. You can actually stay there right on the Charleston Battery. We are at White Point Gardens, also known as the Battery here in Charleston. This is site of a lot that's happened over a period of the last 250 years. Of course, the bombardment on Fort Sumter came from near here. Also, this was site of where several pirates were hung, Steve Bonnet being one of them. This is pretty cool. We are at White Point Gardens, and there are two storks there, and they're building a nest. How about that? One of the Charleston famous cobblestone streets made from stone that would serve as ballast in the bottom of empty ships, and when they would get here to South Carolina and load up with cargo, they would dump the rocks out, and of course they would use the rocks to pave the streets. That's the Dock Street Theater. That is going to do it for our carriage ride in Charleston, South Carolina with the Palmetto Carriage Works. I will tell you, you never know where you're going to go. They draw ping pong balls to decide the route that you're going to take. The route that we took today was one we've never done before. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this tour. If you did, be sure to give us a big old thumbs up. Be sure to share with your family and friends. But until next time, y'all have a good day.